I'm uninspired. I'm uninspired anytime I watch this guy play. Best QB prospect since Peyton Manning, since Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck showed us a lot more immediately than what Trevor Lawrence gave us probably in his first 3 years outside of that comeback game. This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not.
Welcome to the Warner Brothas Podcast.
Hey.
I bet you didn't expect this evening. My name is Brandon. I'm with Keenan, Kyle, and Timmy.
Hey.
We are here to talk about the AFC South.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Shout out to Brandon for the impromptu intro. Love it. Absolutely. Might have to just have him do all of our intros. But yeah, AFC South, we've been doing the same format as we've been doing all the other divisions. If you haven't seen those, go back and see those. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the other divisions that we're going to be talking about here. But let's get underway right into it. AFC South, Timmy's going to give a statement. We'll react to that statement. Timmy, starts with you.
I'm going to expect a sober night out of you guys from this statement because I don't think I have the AFC South any order close to the rest of you guys here. So I was given the Texans, and here's what I'm going to say. I think this Joe Mixon thing scares me. So my statement is that the Houston Texans are the 2024 San Francisco 49ers. I think Joe Mixon does not play a single game this year.
Let me react to that. I'm taking a shot. If you would have asked me a week ago, because what was it? Probably 3 or 4 days ago, we got the news that he was going to miss at least the first month or the first few games. And then news started coming out yesterday that, like Tim just said, that he could possibly miss the whole entire campaign altogether. And if that's the case, they were so reliant on him last year. Yeah, I believe Stroud's going to be better. I believe by default, if you have this team as your division winner or at least a playoff team, I believe with the AFC being weak, by default, the Texans are a Super Bowl contender. That being said, if Mixon's out for a whole year and you really just got to rely on the passing offense with how poor that offensive line was last year, could get tricky. And then if Mixon's gone, yeah, like Tim's saying in this case, you're 1 or 2 injuries away. You had Nico get injured last year. You're 1 or 2 injuries away from your season just being cooked. So I'm taking a shot of that. Y'all can react.
I'm going to take a sip. Reason being is because obviously injuries are possible. I don't think Joe Mixon being out for the season is like make or break for them. I actually like the running back depth. Not mainly Nick Chubb, but more so towards Woody Marks. They traded up for him. I think they gave up a future third rounder to move up to get him out of USC. I like him a lot. I like Dameon Pierce. Like, I think they have enough there to where they can deploy 3 running backs, and all 3 of these guys are different. So I think they can have a multifaceted rushing attack. I do agree though. Like if something happens to Nico or even to like Christian Kirk or J.J. Higgins, then like it could go south. But I do like the receiver depth. But I think Nico first. If something happens to him, then yeah, I think it could go down there very quick.
Real quick on that, my only pushback is that Jordan Howard was a good running back last year in place for CMC, and Garendo even had some nice games, and they were still 6 wins. So I could still see it being that way.
Yeah. Understood, because we did see the dip in production, especially towards the back half of the season, like when the difference between Joe Mixon and Joe Mixon not being there, so that makes sense. Obviously, he's not the impact player of CMC, but really to what the Texans were doing, it's kind of similar. So I'm taking definitely a sip of that statement. If it's Joe Mixon, I might take almost a shot. But like if you're just Joe Mixon focused on it, but since we obviously are bringing the Texans in as well, I'm taking a sip just because I think the NFC West is better than the AFC South overall. Like I think Arizona gives a little bit more problems than say Indy, and then you go to Seahawks, especially like Seahawks last year, I think are better than the Titans, and then obviously you have the Rams there as well, which would be your Jaguars. So like I just think that the NFC West last year is better than the AFC South this year. So the Texans, I think, could be 9-8 and still have a chance to make the playoffs. So like they wouldn't fall into the 49ers bucket of being 7-10-ish. I think they're 7-10 last year and missing the playoffs. So that's why I'm taking a sip. But if you're just talking specifically Joe Mixon, I think it's a shot. I think it's incredibly live that like just the same kind of thing happens and we're looking up. The only difference is at least we don't have to draft Joe Mixon 9th overall and then figure out afterwards going into week 1, hey, undisclosed, we don't know. At least going in, we are like, we'll take him as a flyer in the 8th so we don't lose our league because we have to draft Joe Mixon. Like, at least that's known. Because golly, CMC as a 1-1 last year, coming off of a great year, is like, don't see him. Won't see him for most of the year. So, yeah. So I'm talking real quick. I do have them at 10-7, is it? Hold on. I have this written down on another paper. Nope, 9-8. I lied. I have them at 9-8 because I think they're going to be around that 9-8, 10-7. As I was saying, I do think that they are live for the playoffs. I actually have them right on the outside of the playoffs. I have them missing. So a new division winner. We don't know who that could be. But a new division winner. I don't know who that could be. Cam Ward and the Titans. Aaron McNair. What the quad? Sorry. Sean Kingston. All right, go on next.
I have them at 10-7. I think mainly because of the defense. I think their defense is going to be disgusting this year. Mm-hmm. I think their defense, if their offense just takes a crap this year, I think their defense is going to be good enough to keep them in games.
They can look like the Steelers a lot, where it's like 21-17 because that defense is so live.
Yeah, so I have them at 10-7. I have them as a wild card spot.
Wow, didn't know. For people who don't know, Brandon is a Jags fan, as you can probably tell. He's in Florida if you can look at his shirt now. Allegedly. Pre-pod stuff lets him know he might be a Bucks fan, as I might be a Bucks fan, apparently, with my rankings of the Bucks this year. I lived in Tampa for 2 years. I can claim him.
Yeah, despite me taking a shot, I do have this team at 10-7. We'll see what happens with the running back room. I agree with Brandon. This could not only just be a disgusting defense, could be the best defense in the league. We saw them give the Chiefs hell last year and keep them in that AFC divisional game. I think Stroud's going to be better at the least, right? I think he has a bounce back year. He's got some weapons around him. There's no Bobby Slowick, so maybe that nullifies, the Joe Mixon injury. We'll see, because that definitely held them back last year. So 10-7. Dark horse Super Bowl contender by default, like I was saying. And again, we'll see what happens with Mixon before I really dive all the way in on that. So,
Timmy, before you go, because I know your eyes lit up when you heard Dark horse Super Bowl contender. I'm just real quick before you go. I just wanted to say the fact that I think the Texans are going to be such an interesting, I'm going to say case study. Just going to be really interesting to look at, just because if CJ Stroud really can take them there, I think it's going to be real hard to leave him out of the top 6 quarterbacks in the league. If you back to back years, you can say win the division, 10 wins, and get to the AFC divisional round, continue. I just think it's going to be tough. Go on, Tim. You have them 6-11.
I
can't wait.
Will be taking 2 full handles and just completely downing them of this. I honestly think that this is the 49ers from last year. I want to highlight some teams that they play this year. The Rams, the Bucks, the Ravens, the Seahawks, iffy, 49ers, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Chargers, and then their whole division. Guys,
Broncos as well.
Yeah, Broncos are in there as well.
That's tough.
I'm not going to lie to you guys. I got them at 5-12. Oof. I got them really, really bad. Bottom of the division. They are the 14 seed. I think this is going to be a rough year. You guys are right. This defense could be great, but 2 years ago, we would have said that the 49ers defense would be good. And if anything like that were to happen, their defense was good enough to carry them. That was not the case. I think this is spitting image San Francisco from last year. This is the exact same thing that's going to happen to them. They will have a good defense, but their offense won't be good enough to keep them in games, especially with that schedule. I just listed off, 7 or 8 teams that are all very good teams. So 5-12, bottom of the division. Funny enough, I have them 4-2 in their division. It's not going to be good.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, that wouldn't be like, it'd be bad, but like it almost wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if one year they were bad.
They can get the best O-lineman next year.
Because
the first thing I thought of. They could be a contender next year just off of that.
Yeah, no, because I mean, you always have that worst of first team. You always have the team, because now you're giving CJ Stroud a super easy schedule. It might just work out that way. Like, genuinely, because I think you still have your quarterback in CJ, unless he throws like 30 picks this year and looks terrible. But like, if he's just running for his life because he can't get blocked, like, I can't. No one can block.
That's the thing. We don't know if the offensive line's better. We don't actually know.
I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. And maybe they just say, "Who cares about offense? Let's go get Caleb Downs." They just say, which would be gross. Their defense, they might have to score 7 points a game. There'd be a no-fly zone back there if they got Caleb Downs.
That or Peter Woods. Imagine adding Peter Woods to the defensive line.
Golly. They go defense. I mean, there's so many good defenders this year. They could just say, "Hey, go in defense. We'll figure it out."
Tim's making a lot of sense because much like the 49ers last year, 49ers had an absolutely brutal schedule last year. And that schedule that the Texans have is brutal. You gotta be an elite QB to weather that storm. And CJ Stroud may or may not be that. But exactly like you said, I mean, this is so reminiscent down to like how CMC was brought up in the preseason with his injury up until week 1, where all of a sudden it was like, actually, it might be a few more weeks. Then actually, it might be the season. And then before we knew it, I don't think CMC came back till like week 11, week 12.
Super late. Yep.
Yeah.
It's very reminiscent, and you're making a lot of sense the more I think about it, honestly.
Another thing with this injury is CMC, his injury, right, the double tendonitis there, is like a plaguing injury that hits you long term. It's a long-term deal to try to get over that. This injury that Joe Mixon has, I believe it's a Liz Frank injury from 2020 when he had it. And it's been lingering, and it hurt him at the end of last year. And if he just flared it up and made it worse again, it's another injury just like tendonitis where long term, this is not like a 6-week turnaround. So I could see a world like they've been telling us all offseason, it's fine. We don't really have to worry about it. Well, he's on the PUP, so that's 4 weeks. And they said, we're going to take it week by week. I hate that analogy. I really do. I think that is just them sugarcoating it, and we're not going to see any Joe Mixon this year.
That's exactly what it is. It's definitely going to be more than a 4-week injury.
Nick Caserio said today that they asked him if he was going to return the ball this year, and he was non-committal about it. Had absolutely nothing to say about it. That to me is all right.
An odd cross-sport comparison of things that's going on right now with just a superstar. Caitlin Clark has been the same way. She's been day-to-day with a groin for a month. And then she got while practicing, she got a bone bruise. And this is it's one of those things where it's so she's day-to-day. It seems like she's just trying to go in there and get rehab. It's we're getting no updates. You just continue to repeat we're just day-to-day. So same thing, because obviously they're playing every week. Yeah, he's week to week. We'll see how he looks getting in next week, and we'll go from there. Oh, so you don't know. Okay. You just tell me that you have no idea, because if you did, you'd be like, yeah, he's close to getting back to practice. We're thinking within the next couple weeks, he'll definitely be back in the fold of practice, and then go from there. You would say that.
Todd Bowles, he was just barely asked on a radio show what their deal with Chris Godwin and Tristan Wirfs was. And he was plain as day. He said, we're not putting him on the PUP because we think we can get him back before then. We're targeting a week 3 to 5 return. That's the most information a coach has ever given about an injury before. And then these other coaches are just we don't know.
We'll have to check with our doctors week to week. Listen, guys, I'm not a doctor. I just go out there and I coach football. I just know how to coach the offense. I'm not a doctor. I'm not degreed in that. So it's okay. But So if we're done there, I got the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then we got a fun statement where I think we might be. I think some people might be getting drunk here. Just one person, maybe. Trevor Lawrence will be a top 10 quarterback by season's end. I'm starting with Brandon.
I'm just playing the countertop on that one. I'm chugging the whole bottle. Give me the whole bottle. Mr. 50 mil himself, he better damn well come out and be a top 10 quarterback this season.
About it. That's the
if
thing
not,
about it.
then I'm gonna stop right there because I'm gonna have the FBI watching me if I say that.
Please say it. Actually, please say it. We'll edit it out.
Nah, I'm gonna pull up at that motherfucker's house. That's what I'm gonna do. All right. Nah,
Look like Kendrick. It looked like Not Like Us. The photo in the beginning of the album cover, just dots all over the house. It's like, well, what's Brandon doing? I don't know.
We don't know. No, I mean, $50 million quarterback. Like, you got a bona fide number one with Brian Thomas Jr., who I think is already one of the best receivers in the NFL. Travis Hunter, De'Ami Brown. I think the rushing attack is going to be very good this season. I think the defense will be improved. It would be very disappointing if he wasn't. If Trevor Lawrence isn't a top 10 quarterback at the end of the season, then I think there's discussion to be had that a lot of people do not want to have. And that's when you start getting close to the B word that ends with T.
We start getting that Zion. I mean, Brandon is famous for calling people a bust. He did call Zion a bust, and in all accounts, though Zion's talent is there, he has been a bust of a number one prospect, especially since we've been sold like Anthony Davis and these guys. Said the same thing about Caleb. Obviously, year one of Caleb, he looks like the fourth best quarterback in that class. Obviously, we have way more time now, so we don't know. But right now, he was the fourth best quarterback in his own class last year. So Brandon doesn't love to throw that word around, but when he does, he means business.
Yeah.
Front of the plane.
Right. Yeah, I'm not going to say it right yet, but I do think I do think that like if he comes out and has another 2,500 or 3,500, 25 touchdown season, yeah, it's time to discuss. But I think there's no excuses. I think he has everything that he needs. It's right now it's do or die. I think he does it. I think you got one generational player wise, but like I think you have two great receivers around you. So like, go get it done.
There's no him and Justin Herbert are in the same boat. Like, you hear all this talent, you hear you're this good. We've seen you have some high highs and some low lows. Are you that good, or are we just talking about you for no reason? Figure it out.
Yeah.
I can take a shot of this 100%. I think Liam Cohen is going to not turn him around because it's not like Trevor Lawrence was the worst QB, but I think he'll get the most out of Trevor here. And when you're adding Travis Hunter, who Liam said he's going to play 80% of the offensive snaps, that's a scary wide receiver room to have. I don't quite know about the running back situation, but just that wide receiver alone should make Trevor Lawrence look pretty damn good. So I'll take a shot. I think top 10 is definitely doable. Might even be a little bit higher than that, to be honest. He might be closer to the top 5.
See, I'm in between going to the bathroom and taking a sip. I'm taking a small sip before I go to the bathroom, and I'll tell you why. I've been up here.
Yeah, sure. I'll take that. I'll take that real quick.
Yeah, just
I gotta go.
I'm gonna take a quick. I'm gonna take a quick sip.
Let me wet my whistle real quick.
Could you watch my drink real quick? I just gotta go to the bathroom.
Exactly. I'm gonna take a quick sip. Y'all watch my drink. Not sure what I feel about this drink.
Watch my drink's a great answer.
Yeah, exactly. Watch my drink. That's exactly my answer. Watch my drink, because I've been on here, let's say the last 2 seasons, talking about how like the top 10 QBs and the quarterback depth in general isn't as deep as it was 10 years ago. That being said, I think it's nearly there now. If you go through the QBs, there's guys in the 17, 15 range that you can make a case for the top 12. I don't believe that to be the case at the beginning of last season. And but Keenan, you mentioned Justin Herbert. I think the difference between Herbert and Trevor Lawrence, Herbert at least has inspiring moments. Trevor Lawrence, like, he has good stats. Like, when it was at his best for him, he had good stats, and people had him top 10 coming out of that Chargers, funny enough, against Herbert, coming out of that playoff win and then the divisional round. People had him in the top 10 coming into the next season. Yeah. I really didn't. I think he's got all the tools, but I don't really think I'm uninspired. I'm uninspired anytime I watch this guy play. Maybe it's because I can't shed the whole generational thing. Best QB prospect since Peyton Manning, since Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck showed us a lot more immediately than what Trevor Lawrence gave us probably in his first 3 years outside of that comeback game. So I think he's got a lot of tools, but the difference between him and Herbert, when it's bad, it's really bad for Trevor Lawrence. So yeah, in theory, he could be better and probably will be better under Liam Cohen, but I don't know if he's a smart QB. And that's number one. And what I want for any one of my QBs is, can you play situational football? I really don't know if Trevor Lawrence can. He doesn't use his legs enough, and he's plenty athletic. If he can do that, if he can put it all together, absolutely. But, maybe we're still talking about top 12 because the depth's just gotten a lot deeper. We just talked about Baker. Baker's someone who was outside the top 10 a couple years ago because of Liam Cohen. So guess I'm kind of making your case, but we're still, we had MVP talk about Baker Mayfield last episode, so I'm not sure if Trevor Lawrence can get there. I think if you think he's going to be all that, then you might as well take him for an 11-win type of team this year. So watch my drink.
Watch your drink. I am taking a sip. So I think that there's room within the top 12, 13 circle for him. I just also think there's other guys that are possibilities to be there as well. Like, what if Caleb takes a leap? What if Drake May or Bo Nix take a leap into that next level? People like Dak, like, can he stay there? Like Brock Purdy. Obviously, you have Herbert, Stroud, Love. Will Matt Stafford still be at that? So, like, there's a lot of around that 7 to 13 range, and I'm really excited to get into these tiers. I already have the graphic made for it, guys. Looks clean. I'm not gonna lie. Warner Brothas graphic team made that look clean, but I think that it's just gonna be within that. Like, he could definitely get to that realm because he has the talent to. And in the NFL, unlike the NBA, where I think the NBA you kind of go up in notches a little bit. In the NFL, you can really, Jaden Daniels last year was probably the 28th best quarterback going in. People are like, he's not the worst. He's the number 2 pick. We'll see what he is. And now people are like, is he the 5th best quarterback in the league? And that's just in 1 year. And that was one rookie season. So, like, the NFL, especially quarterback wise, you really can take less leaps within 1 year. Such a small sample size sport. So, I'm just going to quickly speak on my record. I actually have them winning the division, which isn't a shock now because everybody heard the Texans. I have them winning the division at 11-6. But I personally don't only think that it's going to be like a Trevor Lawrence is like now like Superman kind of thing. I just think they have a well-rounded team where he's going to be able to. It needs to come with, Kyle said, good decision making, not knowing when to run, knowing not when to run, knowing when to force the ball or when to push it downfield and when not to. I think that he has those capabilities. We saw him do it as a true freshman at Clemson. Like, we saw him make these moves and really put himself into what we thought was going to be the generational kind of guy. So I think it's possible. We've even seen him really have flashes of it in the NFL, but just not consistently. I think you get it done this year at 11-6 and the winner of the division.
I'm surprised because you didn't really talk about him. We were talking about worst to first a couple weeks ago.
No, I left that. I let that to be to Brandon. I didn't want to give all my ammunition, and I'm not going to lie to you, Kyle.
I think all 3 of us said the Jags a couple weeks ago.
No, I was also high on the Patriots. I'm like, I was drinking such Patriot juice that it didn't matter. Other teams didn't matter.
Man had the helmet on.
I was saying I had the helmet on last one before we were talking worse the first. I was so worried about the Patriots that I wasn't even thinking about that. But I thought at the time the Jags definitely are alive for it. And then when I went through, I was like, they have the schedule for it. They have the personnel for it.
They do have a good schedule.
They definitely have the schedule for it. They have the personnel for it. And if Trevor is at least 80% as good as what we think he can be, which is generational, he should get this done this year.
Yeah, I got 10-7. I actually have us winning the tiebreaker for the division over Houston.
I have a 17-0.
Yeah, 16-1.
Losing last week because they sat everyone. Sorry, go on.
Yeah,
16-1 and it's a tie.
Nick Mullins was a starter.
16-0-1.
On pace for an undefeated season. Yeah, I think 10-7 tiebreaker. I think 11-6 is the ceiling. I say that, but I'm not very confident behind that 10-7 because I know how Jacksonville is. And I also wouldn't be surprised if we came out and we went 7-10 this year. I really do think it's make or break for Trevor. I especially with that contract, you're a top 5 quarterback in APY now. There's no excuses. And if he doesn't put it together, then I could see it being a long year. I could see it really being one of those 7-10 years. And then
could you see him could you see talks of him on a new team if he's bad?
I could definitely, and it's actually funny you say that real quick. We were actually, me and my friend and family group are having that discussion. I think it was last weekend. And that was one of the things that came up. And we were all in agreement that hey, if it's not this year, then what do we do? You can't really move him with that contract, but there would be some discussion. I think in terms of hey, if it's not him, let's wait, let's get rid of him and go get our next guy.
There are multiple teams that would sign up for that. The Steelers would sign up. We can get a guy, we could sell that to fans. We can get that. Listen, the Cowboys might even sign up. They might just say, hey, Dak for Trevor Lawrence straight up. Let's call it a day.
I think he's got all I think he's got everything, the arm strength, everything. But like Kyle said, he just doesn't put it together. My biggest thing is I want to see conviction with everything that you do. If you're gonna throw it into a tight window, let it rip, own it. That's my biggest thing with him. It's the decision making obviously makes me want to pull my hair out that I don't have anymore.
You're gonna grow it to pull it?
Yeah, I'm gonna grow it to pull it out. Yeah. But he hesitates so much. It's just whenever he goes to throw something, you see him kind of hesitate. And that split second is what causes an interception like that. Just be purposeful. If you're gonna do it, just do it. I'm not expecting 5,000 yards from him, but give me 4K and 30 plus touchdowns. He still hasn't passed for 30 plus touchdowns. I think he's capped out at 26. I need to see 30 plus and 45 of them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I got them at 9-8. I got them improving. But honestly, the reason why it is 9-8 and not 10-7 or 11 wins is because of Trevor Lawrence. I just cannot get all the way there with him. I won't call him Bill, so maybe we'll call him William Lawrence today. I don't see it, the one thing I like seeing out of quarterbacks, any quarterback, whether you're good, bad, otherwise, is emotion. That dude always has the same look on his face. I've never once seen him show any sort of fire, any sort of competitiveness. He's always got a generic ass look. And I'm not Mr. Hey type, but he was one when I heard Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, I'm all right, I don't watch college football anymore. Let me really see it. And that first year was Urban Meyer, but he really didn't look great at all. And even that second year, which was I think his best year, right? It was either 21 or 22 was his best season. I was okay, but I wasn't moved and still haven't been moved by him. He's someone who under Doug Peterson, you should still be able to carry your team. And I understand he was injured last year, but you should still at least win 3 games on your back despite bad coaching, which even Dak Prescott, who I'm not the biggest fan of, Dak can do that. Why can't Trevor Lawrence if he's got all these tools? So that's kind of where I'm at with William. Tim, did I see you throw a toothpaste bottle a couple minutes ago? What was that?
My cat was tearing up the rug, so I threw a package of pens at him. I didn't
is that toothpaste? That's some Colgate right there? What is that?
Yeah, just breaking out the crest. Eat that over there real quick.
Brush your teeth.
I've got the Jacksonville Jaguars winning their division at 9-8. I think this is going to be a bad division, so 9-8's plenty enough to win it. I think positive regression pretty much all throughout. Better defense, better offense. It's all going to look a little bit more fluid. But I totally agree with what Kyle was saying. Trevor Lawrence has no dog in him. there's a cat inside of him, and that's what's holding him back. So
Garfield cat.
yeah. I don't know if you guys remember, but 2 years ago, it was the good season with Doug Peterson. He was trying to like give a motivational speech pregame, and it was the saddest thing in the the world.
Can you send it?
Oh, come on, guys!
I gotta send it. I gotta see
get you the link, 100%. Yeah, it's pretty bad. So he's got no dog in him. He just looks plain. Looks like he should be a fashion model, not a football quarterback. So 9-8, much improved team. Definitely not like I had him last year.
He's got a cat inside him. Trevor Lawrence got a house cat inside him.
That's one of the funniest quotes. He's got a cat inside. Alrighty, so we all have the Jacksonville Jaguars 9 wins or better, and a lot of it's schedule dependent, and we're hopeful that we see a dog in see that cat dog instead of the dog cat, we see the dog or cat dog instead of the cat. Shout out to
Trevor Lawrence shows up to Tim's house and the cats just flock to him like it's one of us.
looks like Quagmire when he just has all the cats.
Oh my god. It's a cat lady episode.
Just a cat lady that looks like Quagmire. Oh,
Give
golly.
me the sweater.
Knitting a sweater is crazy. Alrighty, and Brandon, you're next. What team did you have?
I have the Tennessee Titans. And for the Tennessee Titans, on the right in the back of Cam Ward, they have a top 15 offensive unit.
Top 15. I'm taking a sip. I think that they do have some pieces there in Tennessee. I think they're an interesting team. They're one team where you want to see just the framework laid this year for them. Like obviously if they made the playoffs for Tennessee, you're like, oh my God, great. But like, you just want to see like, okay, is Cam Ward like a real starting quarterback in the league? Okay. What's the connection look like with Calvin Ridley? They've got Tony Pollard there. Like they've got a couple pieces offensively where I think they could creep into that top 15, especially if Cam Ward can play. 75% as good as he did at Miami. Obviously, he was chucking that thing around. All-time leader in college, I think, of touchdowns passing-wise, like chucking that thing around. So I think it's on the board that they're top 15 because really that's just saying you're slightly above the pack because 16's middle of the pack. So you're slightly above the rest of the league, and I think that's on the board, so I'm taking a sip.
I'll also take a sip. I think 15 is a little bit too rich, especially for a rookie QB with not a lot of talent on this offense. But it wouldn't be the craziest thing to see him top 15. I do think they'll be better than last year. I'm assuming they were ranked probably like 28th or 9th last year offensively, but it would be a big jump to go all the way up to 15 with a rookie QB and then not a lot of additional picks added for starting roster spots. So I'll take a sip.
I'm going to the bathroom on this one. I'm taking a piss. Not anything to do with Cam Ward. This is more a Brian Callahan thing. Mentioned this a couple weeks ago. He's just a nondescript coach to me. I really have no opinion on him coming out of the first year, other than they were in a lot of games, and you can blame it on Brian Callahan. You can blame it on Will Levis. You can blame it on both, but they tossed away a ton of games last year. So I think the Titans are going to be competitive. Top 15 in offense. I can't say confidently. I know Brian Callahan's supposed to be an offensive coach. We'll see. I also know Cam Ward would have been later if he was in other drafts, given his QB talent. Could happen. Definitely could happen, but I don't feel confident even taking a sip just because I don't have a lot of opinions on that team in general, just off their head coach.
So I'm going to use Kyle's statement from earlier. Watch my drink, please. I'm going to test it out, set it down, go to the bathroom. I think they do have an outside shot. I think it's a small outside shot. I love their offensive line. I think they have a really good offensive line. I think the running game is going to be good this year. I think it depends on Cam Ward. Like Keenan said, if you're getting 3/4 of what he was at Miami, I think you're probably close to that. I think someone else other than the Calvin Ridley has to step up, though. I think whether it's Chigakonkwo or if it's one of the rookie receivers, Shamira DK or Ella Kiyamador,
Tyler Lockett.
I don't think.
Oh, yeah, they do have Tyler Lockett.
And Van Jefferson, too. He's also there, if that's your flavor. Yeah, I could see it being like a 18 to 22. I think a couple things would have to go their way, though, to be
Sounds about right.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think we're all in the same kind of. We think they're probably the 20th-ish best offense in the league, but obviously, if that's the case, a couple things go right and they're 15th. So, I think they're 5-12, and I think that's laying the ground. I think they're starting to lay the groundworks. Really, that's kind of the same thing I had for the Patriots last season after they got their top guy. It was like, for me, it was, can you prove that Gerard Mayo is a competent coach, and can we see signs from Drake May? And it was check on the Drake May, and then Gerard Mayo. I think that obviously I would have given probably a year 2 if Mike Vrabel wasn't on the board. So it was like an there, but we checked with Mike Vrabel, so we moved on from Gerard Mayo, so it didn't matter.
Turned out he was Miracle Whip.
So guys, it wasn't Mayo, he was Miracle Whip. We're just he was margarine, not butter. So like just a fake version of that. So I think it's the same thing.
Might have been spam.
Callahan be the guy. As their coach moving forward, can he showcase like he can actually be there? And then is Cam Ward future quarterback for this roster? And if they can at least check off one of those boxes, it's a successful season. Both of them you'd hope to know if you could check off.
Cam Ward sounds like he's a real leader, though, from what I've heard.
Yeah, no, again, he's at least talking about number 1 pick of my lifetime. Unless I'm forgetting.
Yeah, honestly.
That is kind of the reason why I liked him more than Shedeur. There were times that they would do some practices pre-draft together, and Cam just seems like a quarterback. He seems like, a franchise guy. You can put him on a podium and ask him questions and get really good answers from him. So I do like him. I think they improve. I got him at 6-11. Funny enough, that's second in their division. So yeah. Better offense. Defense should be fine. If not, it should be actually a pretty good unit, but not enough to win a bunch of games.
Yeah, I got them at 5-12. Much like I said about the Saints, honestly, I think they're going to be in a lot of games, much like they were last year. They do have a tough schedule, despite them having a last place schedule, or the Jags would have had a last place schedule, correct? No, obviously the Titans did. They had the first pick. That being said, also, I think it's crazy. They unretired Warren Moon's number for Cam Ward. So he's got a lot of that's a lot of love, unretiring someone's number for him. So, but he seems to be checking every box. Like if you hear people out of training camp talking about him. So whatever that amounts to, whether that's a competitive 5-12 like I got, whether that turns out to be 7 wins, I think we are going to see some improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have them going 6-11. I think a very competitive 6-11 though. Like I think Cam Ward, I think it's disrespectful that people don't talk about him. I think he deserves all the shine that he should be getting. I think he's a very good quarterback. I think he can be a very good quarterback. I think he's got a lot of tools. I like the defense too. I think the defense is pretty solid. They don't have a high-end pass rush, but their secondary is very good. If they can get minimal pass rush production, I think they'll be fine. It's probably mainly going to come from the interior. I think they have enough on offense to kind of maybe linger in some games that maybe they shouldn't be in. But I have them 3rd in the division.
I think we all have them 3rd in the division. I know Say Timmy has them 2nd because of the Texans. Yeah, so that kind of alludes to what we have the Colts. Kyle, I'll get to you in a second on that. I just wanted to say, because I was kind of scrolling through the last overall picks. For number 1 overall picks over the last 15 years, the only one, Travion Walker, wasn't highly, highly talked about afterwards. That was one, and then Eric Fisher was the other. Looking at Eric Fisher's draft, this might be one of the worst first round. This might be one of the worst drafts. Eric Fisher, Luke Jokel, Deion Jordan, Lane Johnson, really good. Ziggy Ansah, Barkevius Mingo, Jonathan Cooper, Tavon Austin, D. Milner, Chance Warmack, DJ Fluker, DJ Hayden, Sheldon. There's not names.
Was that 2013?
That was 2013.
Yeah,
that
draft first round junk, but there were a lot of good players in the later rounds.
Yeah, after that, like their later ones, Kenny Vaccaro, EJ Manuel, Jarvis Jones, like
what's funny?
Easily, by far, Lane Johnson's the best pick, and after that, it's Travis Frederick, obviously really good, and then Xavier Rhodes, probably. Oh no, D Hop there. D Hop's there. I was gonna say D Hop
was good too.
Yeah, I was gonna say Xavier Rhodes was
Ziggy
good,
was pretty solid too. Like a late,
he was solid for a
Ziggy
stretch.
would have been fine.
He was
a lot of those first round guys had moments early too. Like first 2-3 seasons were good, and then they petered out.
You know, that was the thing about the draft class is like that was like a 3-year draft. It was like if they just played out the rookie contract, like they weren't really getting a second one. Like it was just like a roller coaster with the rookie deal. And it was like, we'll be career backups or out of the league.
I'm old enough.
Kyle Reifert and Kyle Long were decent. Eric Reed, that's
like there's like this feels like a third round of a draft where you're like, oh, we found a couple gems, and then we just have some backups, couple starters. Like it just feels like the day 2 of a draft, and like, nope, that was your day 1.
Cordarrelle Patterson, got to the first round that season.
Yeah, Jesus. Justin P.U.
I'm old enough to remember the D. Milner, Darrelle Revis comparisons coming out of it.
Oh my God, yeah.
And he was DOA. Dude was DOA.
But I'm not gonna lie, he was so good at Alabama. Like I could see it. Like at that point in time, like I remember him at Alabama. Like he was so good.
Yeah, he was like number one in his position is a 95 grade. Like he was.
Yeah. Like I was extremely sure whenever he was coming out, I was like, yeah, this guy's going to be like the next great corner in the NFL. And then he was out of the league in 3 years.
Yeah. But we can move on to the Colts there. It's already by like alluding to, a few of us have the Colts really bad, but we'll talk to Kyle. We'll see how Kyle has them.
Yeah, funny enough, like it kind of takes the juice out of my statement, but my statement is the Colts roster is too good to be bad. Since you guys have already made your case, I'll kind of make the case for my statement, and that is rookie year for Anthony Richardson. He ends up missing most of the year. We get Gardner Minshew, and they get a playoff berth, I believe. If not, they're one game out of the playoffs, right?
Something
game like that. One game out.
One game
RB
out.
dropped the pass that would have put him in. Yeah.
Right. That's right. Last year, Joe Flacco is in a lot for Anthony Richardson, whether it's in relief, whether it's for injury. And same thing. It pretty much came down to that Giants game that they lost at Giants Stadium late last year. Bubble team. Right? This year, they're going to have a mix of Anthony Richardson as well as Daniel Jones. We know Daniel Jones is starting. Yes, Daniel Jones ain't great, but you can't tell me he's much worse than Gardner Minshew or an aging Joe Flacco. Bringing it back to the Shane Steichen conversation we had in the chat a couple weeks ago, I think Shane Steichen's at least a good coach. They've got a good receiving room. They've got good running backs. They've got a good offensive line. It's probably taken a step back. Pretty good defense. The roster's there. We know the QB position is their weakest position probably. But that being said, Daniel Jones has taken the Giants team to the playoffs. You somehow can do worse than Daniel Jones. Anthony Richardson will get some burn, and he's the definition of hit or miss. He's either going to throw a 60-yard dime, or it's going to be fucking ugly, or you're going to get some athletic plays from him. That being said, like there's enough there to win. I'll go ahead and say it because you guys have already kind of alluded to the record. I have them at average 7-10, which I think is like definition of average for me. 7-10, 8-9. I think they'll be kind of in the bubble, kind of in the mix until they're not because of Daniel Jones. But I do think the roster all around and the coaching is good enough to where you're going to win some games, especially in the AFC South. So I don't think they'll be terrible. I think they'll just be average. That's my case.
All right, Tim, you go.
I think I'm going to take a shot. I think they are going to be good. I think there's a good chance that they are a playoff team. I could really see that. I think we kind of had this conversation in the group chat about A-Rich not starting. I think Daniel Jones gives them such a higher floor than A-Rich does that they could definitely squeak into the playoffs and win this division, and it would not shock me one bit. We like to kind of shit on Daniel Jones a lot because obviously he had some pretty bad years in New York, but this is the best team that Daniel Jones has played on by far. Best wide receiver core, complete wide receiver core. They at least have multiple options. Tyler Warren could be the real deal this year, and Jonathan Taylor is a damn good running back. Not to mention a top 10 offensive line. Daniel Jones has always played with a 28th or worse offensive line when he was there. So I think that we could see a ceiling output for Daniel Jones this year, and that could put them into the potentially winning the division. I don't have it plotted that way, but I could see it happening. So I'm actually going to take a shot. I'm going to be on board. I'm going to root for my QB that is no longer.
Okay.
You go, Brandon.
Go ahead.
No, you go, buddy.
I was just going to say, I'm going to take a sip. I do think they have a talented roster. Timmy, this is my San Francisco 49er team this year. I understand they're not as successful, but they got a lot of like kind of lingering injuries. I know Josh Downs already has a hamstring. If something happens to Jonathan Taylor, that's it. That's it. Because if Indy loses the running game, I don't think they're going to be able to move the ball in offense. I don't think they're going to push the ball downfield with Daniel Jones. I think it's going to be a lot of underneath to Tyler Warren and Josh Downs. I don't think Michael Pittman's going to be too much of a player in this offense. I also think he's kind of overrated too. I think the defense is decent, but a lot of those guys are injury prone. Latu, Kwity Paye, Charvarius Ward had like a bunch of soft tissue stuff. Xavier Howard's there too. Like he's also old. Like I do think they have talent, and I do think with a better quarterback that they could definitely be a playoff team. Like if let's say if Anthony Richardson panned out, like I think it 100% could be a playoff team. It would probably a wild card team, but I don't see it this season. I don't see it at all with Daniel Jones. Like especially too, like I said, like I think JT last year. I mean, JT's always good to miss 3 or 4 games. He had the ankle injury last year. Like I said, if anything happens to him, I really think that it's just downhill from there. Like I think the season's over with, especially if it's long term, or even just like a soft tissue, like a calf or a hamstring injury, something that kind of lingers. Like I think if he misses 4 or 5 games, it's enough to derail him because then you have to worry about the ramp up process as well.
I just don't think they're fine talent wise. I just don't like what they have at quarterback at the slightest. I don't think Anthony Richardson's good. I think he's just been. I mean, he's barely played since high school, he just hasn't seen the field. So I think he has the potential, and I think that I guess they gave him a battle with Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones didn't look great. I don't have confidence in this team. I think that sometimes there's just teams that have some talent on them and are bad, and there's sometimes, Kyle, as you were saying with the Saints, there are teams that are so bad they're almost sometimes good. Like there's just some teams that are like they're so bad they just like people treat them like they're so bad, and then they're in these games because they're like, we're playing New Orleans, guys, let's go, we can go out tonight. Like we'll be up until 3 a.m, and then they wake up the next day like, wait, why are we in a battle with this team? So I just think sometimes that people will take this team seriously, and I just don't think that they're going to be great. I think they're going to be in the Arch Manning sweepstakes. That's what I think. If Arch Manning comes out.
Yeah.
And they also have a tough schedule, actually, surprisingly enough. Like they play the Broncos, the Rams, the Cardinals. There's going to be a tough-ish game, even though they do have that at home, but that also is in a dome, so that's a team that can play there. They see the Chargers, the Falcons, the Steelers, the Chiefs, obviously the Texans twice, the 49ers, the Jags twice, who we all think can compete for the division. Like, there's just a lot of games where it's like 50-50. And I don't think they're going to be, I have them 3-14. I'm just going to say it right now. I don't think they're going to be a 3-14 team that's like, that bears getting just blown out. But like the Panthers, like towards the back half of last season was like, we're competing a lot of these games. We're just ending up losing. I think I think people will come to play against them, and I think that they'll just end up losing these games because they'll just come down to a play here, play there.
That's honestly kind of insane to me, honestly, just because of my premise. The roster's too good, and you could have said the same thing for their last 2 seasons. Like, their division in general is always 50-50. And they've had tough games down the stretch in the middle of the season. Their last 2 seasons, they still compete. Like Shane Steichen's got them competing every year. And again, like you can't tell me Daniel Jones is any better or worse than a backup Gardner Minshew. Like I think Daniel Jones wins that job if it's head up. Might have even won that job if I don't know if Minshew played in New York or not, but Daniel Jones, the best version of Daniel Jones we've seen is very mistake averse. Like he's being safe with the ball. If you're doing that with this team, and this team right now, as constructed right now, is largely healthy, you should win some games just based off that. And Daniel Jones, quiet as kept, is pretty mobile too, like at the best version of him. So I know we're saying
absolutely. I mean, other than tripping and falling,
other than that play,
no, he's got wheels. Don't get me wrong. Like Daniel Jones can run.
Other than that historic play,
so he can run for sure. Like he's got moves.
I just think they're too good all around for them to just falter to 3 wins. I don't see 3 wins for them, unless you're telling me Anthony Richardson's getting the majority of the snaps from like week 2 on. Even still, Steichen's a good enough coach, and the roster is just built all from top to bottom. It's pretty well constructed. I don't see them being any worse than a 7-win team, truly.
So I have them at 5-12. And to your point, Kyle, like I think after so many years of mediocrity, like I think eventually it just blows up in your face. I think eventually it gets to a point where it just doesn't work out anymore, and I think that's this year. I see what you're saying. Like I do like the roster in some spots. I like obviously the running game. Like I think they have talent, but I just think, to what Keenan said, I think it's one of those years where it just isn't going to work out. The quarterbacks have too many concerns. Like, what if Daniel Jones goes out there and sees ghosts this year? You know, takes a page out of Sam Darnold's book. Like, what if he's tripping on the field? You know, like, I don't know. Like, it just. Sorry, Daniel. Yeah, like I just think of like at some point, like it just blows up in your face. Like I kind of look at it as kind of like the Jaguars a little bit. Like where like Jacksonville was kind of like teetering there, and then eventually like it just blows it. Like it just doesn't work. And I think that's going to happen this year with Shane Steichen and this roster. I think the quarterback deficit is just too much for you to overcome that. I really think you have to have like top tier, like not just a running back, but like receivers, tight ends, like all that stuff, like a top tier defense. And I just don't see that.
Vegas agrees with Kyle, by the way, but go on, Tim.
I have them at 6-11, so I'm a little bit higher than you guys. I'm definitely, the shot doesn't sound like it was warranted at this point, but I did make these records like 2 weeks ago, and I think at the time it was before we knew Daniel Jones was even starting. So 6-11, competitive team. It would not surprise me to see this team in the playoffs. It really would not.
I'd be dumbfounded to see this team in the playoffs.
Because
I would be dumbfounded because that's what telling me that the Texans really did fall off and Trevor Lawrence is not that at all. And like that would just mean, I think I just couldn't see them with a winning record, which just mean, I mean, we've seen teams in the playoffs. Like, I mean, the Panthers are 7-8-1 or 7-9 made it. The Seahawks have made it in the past, but like,
I'll say this.
That just to me means the team's not have a winning record.
I see where y'all coming from, and we're really not far off. Like I got them at 7, Tim's got them at 6, Brandon's got them at 5, Keenan's all the way at 3. Despite me having Jacksonville second, I do almost think the Colts are a safer bet. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a lot of variance with Jacksonville if Liam Cohen's not a good head coach. We know Shane Steichen's a good coach. Again, we've seen him with this level of quarterback. This is not any different than what he's had these last couple of years at quarterback. So that being said, I think this is a very familiar position for Indy. And the supporting cast is too good. That's really, I mean, that was the genesis of this statement. The supporting cast is very good all around, and the coaching's good enough. That's why I think they're just too good to fail. Like, I don't think it's going to be successful by any means, but if you're asking me who's a safer bet, yeah, I'm going to take the upside of Jacksonville, but I think the Colts are a safer bet, honestly, than Jacksonville.
Kyle, you and Vegas are agreeing because both of their over-unders are set at 7.5. So, you're obviously there's some points where you think you're wrong. I mean, them at minus like under 6.5 wins is plus 135. So if you're confident like I am that they're going to,
I'm over here arguing like I have them in the playoffs myself. I don't, but I agree with Tim. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see them in the playoffs. Like they would be one of the least surprising lower tier teams to me.
They would shock me because it'd have to only be a division win. I just don't. I mean, I don't think they could get in the wild card. I really don't. I just think there's too many good teams in the AFC that like the wild card's just not a chance for them. I mean, that would be them winning the division, and I would be personally shocked if they won the division. That's me personally.
This division is going to be a shit show. Tim's got it comically shitty with you got 2 6-11s battling for second place.
Yeah,
and a 9 and 8 winner.
So like if the division is as bad as Timmy thinks it's gonna be, and like he has the Jags falling into 9 wins, like then sure they can compete for the division.
Daniel Jones tripping into 9 wins.
I was gonna say I obviously don't see it that way. I do think I don't see it, and I would personally be dumbfounded if the Colts won the division. And that's the only way I think they can make the playoffs, because I don't think you're getting 2 10-win teams from this division, and there are too many teams in the AFC that can win 10 games.
If they're 3-14, go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Kyle. I was just gonna say if the Colts win the division, I'm leaving Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Straight up.
So I just think that's crazy.
Can we shake on that? Can we put a bet on that?
I'll shake on that. If the Colts win the division, I am leaving Jackson.
There we go.
Wow. Kyle, what was that last thing you were going to say?
I was going to say, if they're truly 3-14, then you gotta. I think you said Mike McDaniel's first coach fired, right?
Yeah, I think he's fired during the season.
I think it would be Steichen then. If they're 3-14, that means they're like 1-7, 1-8 at some point.
I could see him keeping him for the year and then firing him after the year if that's the case, personally. But that would
3-14. Oh,
I don't. Just because I don't know how like the expectations are super high. I don't know. Yeah. And maybe, I mean, also in my scenario, they're competing for a Manning in Indy. So, like, I think my situation's kind of the best situation here. Like, we getting a Manning.
That was my situation before it was your situation. And it was
I know.
RG3.
Well, I mean, I actually don't. I mean, I have them competing for it, but I have them in New Orleans. But it was yours, and then you moved off of it. It's not my fault. You moved off. It was still there for you.
If he's going to a former Manning's franchise, it's probably either New Orleans or New York. I mean, it could be Indy, like you said, if it goes all the way bad. But I think New Orleans, New York probably have the better options.
Oh, New Orleans has New Orleans is minus 200 if you're going to give out of one of those 3 teams. They're at least minus 200, 250. Like
that's why Kellen Moore took that job.
Favorites.
True.
That's my hot take. That's why Kellen Moore took that job.
That was a business move. I'll tell you, we're gonna have a guy here in a couple of years. Or, I mean, because next year, we say Arch obviously a lot because, like, the pounds there's a lot of quarterbacks next year. Like,
yeah, Aller, Klubnik, there's guys.
There's some guys next year. So, like, he'll have a guy, promise you, next year that's not on the roster, probably starting a quarterback. But, cool. AFC South. Looks like Timmy has the Jags. I have the Jags. Brandon, you have the Jags winning the division on a tiebreaker, correct? And Kyle has them at 9-8. Kyle has the Texans, and then everybody else has losing records pretty much for the division. So for the teams. So sounds great. Sounds almost par for the course. Warner Brothas Podcast. We have the AFC South. We just recorded the NFC South. That will be out if you haven't seen that. We have the AFC and NFC West. We have the AFC and NFC East already all recorded. We're going to be coming here with the North soon. We also did drop a Micah Parsons thing too as well. So if you haven't seen any of that stuff, go back, Warner Brothas Podcast, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and we'll be back with you guys very soon.